for you.
Now it's 6 o'clock. It is July 1st, and that means there are a number of new laws now in effect here in Indiana. Our Aaron Lish is breaking down the changes for the Hoosier State starting today. And this morning, Metro Police are trying to figure out who shot and killed a man on the city's east side. The reason they're having a hard time getting information. And the Hoosier State train line from Indianapolis to Chicago came to an end overnight. But just ahead, we'll show you the new way you can get to the Windy City. It's 6 o'clock here on your Monday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Meredith Barrett, joined by meteorologist Todd Clausen. It's another hot one out there today, Todd. People are going to need to drink plenty of water. And you mentioned the UV index being particularly high.
Yeah, you know, 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, and you got a pretty good burn already.
Oh, wow.
So you need to have that sunscreen handy. And you don't really think about it when you have that hazy sunshine so much. But, oh, boy, you will be in bad shape, as I kind of found out a little bit over the weekend if you don't have the sunscreen on and reapply it all the time, especially if you've been in and out of the water. Temperatures this morning are in the 60s and 70s. 65 Greencastle, 67 Indy, 69 in Richmond. And these temperatures, honestly, not bad for this time of morning for this time of year. We're kind of on par. The difference is we're going to just warm really, really quickly here throughout the course of the day today. And the humidity actually comes back up throughout the afternoon hours. And that's what's going to make it so uncomfortable. But skies are partly cloudy here this morning as they start to brighten, and radar is completely quiet. You do notice some showers off to our west and up to our north. Some of those may sneak in here later on this afternoon, but the morning hours are completely dry. Look how quick we warm, though, already into the mid-80s by the noon hour. And as we transition for you into the afternoon, we're talking about high temperatures in the low 90s with just the chance of a few isolated thunderstorms building into the area. Elena?
All right, thank you, Todd. Here's a look at 465 at Harding Street down on the south side. Traffic's moving along just fine, both eastbound and westbound, also on that exit ramp. So you should be just good to go if you're heading out the door. Let's take a look at the map coming in from this northwest side, heading southbound on I-65. From I-865 down to I-70 runs you about 17 minutes. So rings true no matter where you're headed. Traffic's flowing along just fine.
Elena, thank you. As we roll into July, new laws will go into effect today here in the Hoosier State. This morning, our Aaron Lish is working for you. She is live outside the State House with some of the big laws signed by the governor earlier this year. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning. So thousands of these bills go to get filed to the State House, but only a handful get signed by Governor Holcomb. So here are a few of those notable ones. So Indiana didn't have any hate crime laws. We saw in Carmel that synagogue was vandalized with swastikas. That really drove this bill, and that law starts today. One will go into effect where a judge can consider bias due to a crime victim's real or perceived traits. Now, a big thing right now, it is being criticized for not clearly covering age, sex, or gender identity. Another law is allowing people who are wrongfully incarcerated eligible to receive $50,000 for each year behind bars once a conviction is vacated. And lastly, for all emergency dispatchers in Indiana, they must complete training in telephone CPR. This is vital in rural areas where first responders have longer trips to arrive on scene. And these are a handful of those laws this session. Coming up in the next half hour, we're going to have a little bit more on laws that might affect some Hoosier students. Back to you in the studio, Meredith.
Aaron, thank you. Starting today, deer hunters can register for the 2019 Deer Hunt Registry. It's a service provided by the Department of Natural Resources that allows hunters to register for deer hunting opportunities. Landowners, golf courses, parks, and farmers participating in the Community Hunter Access Program can use the registry to identify prospective hunters for their property. This morning, Metro Police are investigating a deadly shooting on the city's east side. It happened on North Dearborn Street near 10th and Rural Streets around 7:15 last night. Police found a 43-year-old man in the front yard who was suffering from at least one gunshot wound. Investigators believe the victim lived at the home where the shooting happened. Police say it does not appear that this was a random act of violence, but they are having problem getting witnesses to talk. If you have any information that could help investigators, contact Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS. This morning, investigators are asking for your help finding a missing 13-year-old girl. Valentina LaCava was last seen 10 days ago at her home in Greenwood. Her friends and family are pleading with the public to help bring her home. She is 5'1" and weighs 110 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information about where she is, please contact the Johnson County Sheriff's Office. This morning, the Marion County Sheriff's Office needs your help finding a retired canine officer. The 12-year-old dog has been missing for more than 3 days now. Police say she was frightened by fireworks and escaped from her enclosure. The canine was last seen in the Canby area. If you have any information, call authorities at 317-327-3811. Deputies say the former narcotics canine is not a bite dog and is very friendly. She has leg issues and is microchipped. Amtrak's Hoosier State Route is no longer an option for people traveling between Indianapolis and Chicago, but a new bus company is now hoping to bridge the gap in transportation. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning across from the Indigo Transit Center. Alyssa, tell us all about our bus.
So our bus is a new company that's coming to Indianapolis, and its first ride to Chicago leaves from right here at 7:30 this morning. And they also have a return trip every day that leaves from Chicago at 5 p.m. and gets back here at 10 p.m. Now, those are the only 2 times it's offering right now, but they say that if there is interest from the public, they will add more times eventually to this bus route. Now, the loss of Amtrak's Hoosier State train leaves 4 days a week with one less transportation option between Indianapolis and Chicago. Amtrak will continue to offer a service 3 days a week, but the company R-Bus is hoping to pick up the slack. There are other bus options between the 2 cities, but this company runs a bit differently. Their services are more app-based, and they offer a higher-end option for the same price. What R-Bus does is they partner with local bus companies that are typically used for special events and athletes, and they provide those for riders. Their routes are also dependent on what riders request.
So the route is based off customer feedback we receive. So the train has stops for a lot of smaller towns that are off the highway. It's not practical to serve them all, so instead what we want to do is hear from people where they want the bus to stop.
Now, the company has already received enough requests that the bus will have a stop in Zionsville. They will add more stops as requests come in. Now, for the first 2 weeks of service here in Indianapolis, they are offering a promotional code. It's only going to be $10 for riders each way, so a little bit cheaper than some of their competitors for now. Eventually, they will be in line for both Greyhound and Megabus at about $25 to $40 a ride. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. And if you're headed in the opposite direction, driving to Louisville will cost you a little more starting today. Riverlink is raising the toll fees to cross the Ohio River about 2.5% starting July 1st. If you have a Riverlink account and transponder, the new rate for a passenger vehicle will be $2.10, up from $2.05. Those with transponders and prepaid accounts pay the lowest rates. Tolling is in place on the bridges connecting Indiana to Kentucky, including the Lewis and Clark Bridge, the I-65 Abraham Lincoln Bridge, and the I-65 Kennedy Bridge. This story will create a lot of fireworks for people who like to go to concerts. You can now get tickets for just $25 or less to more than 30 different shows in the Indianapolis area during Live Nation's 4th of July Ticket Explosion event. Ticket sales start this morning at 10 a.m. and you have until July 8th to cash in on the deal. The shows take place at the major local venues: Ruoff Home Mortgage Music Center, the Farm Bureau Insurance Lawn at White River State Park, and Old National Center. To see a full list of participating shows and to purchase tickets, you can visit theindychannel.com. It is 6:08 right now, and Todd, if anyone was out at a concert this weekend, they sure were sweating.
Yeah, and there are a lot of them. Dave Matthews was a popular one up at Ruoff, and then yesterday at White River State Park on the lawn there, a lot of people for Jimmy Eat World and Third Eye Blind. It was a warm one last night. It's going to be a warm one here today. Your morning commute, 71 degrees, partly cloudy skies, but this morning commute temperature, I was kind of deciding what to put in here because now that the sun's coming up, it's going to warm really, really quickly and eventually up to 91 degrees this afternoon with the hot and humid conditions and just the chance of a spotty storm here. Our storm chances today really aren't all that great. They're just going to be a spot one popping up in the peak heating of the day, and so that's why the percentage is the highest as we head into the 5 o'clock hours. So anytime this afternoon there's the chance of a stray storm, nothing really to worry about though. It would be a heavy downpour, and that is just about it. Tomorrow, just a slight chance of rain, but as we get into Wednesday, Wednesday. And then unfortunately for the 4th of July and then onward into the 5th of July, our storm chances do start to come up. We'll talk more about that holiday forecast for you in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. It is one of the top in-demand jobs at IU Health, and you don't need a college degree to get hired. Coming up in Hiring Hoosiers, we'll show you how medical assistants at IU Health are getting offered a career ladder to continue their career growth while on the job. That's coming up.
And only Ashley Home Store. This is home.
Hiring Hoosiers is connecting you to new employment opportunities and ways to grow your career. One of the most in-demand jobs at IU Health is a medical assistant. Amanda Starantino shows you why IU Health has created a new career ladder to help prospective employees land this job.
So we'll see you then next Thursday, the 28th at 2 o'clock.
They are the first person you talk to on the phone, setting up your appointment. And the first person with you in the exam room.
I'm the smile when you walk through the door and you are maybe a little nervous. I'm maybe the calm that you can find when people are nervous about seeing the doctor.
Erica Tyndall has been a medical assistant with IU Health for 14 years.
I really enjoyed people and helping people and feeling like I'm bringing something to their lives when they come to our office.
Medical assistants are there for both the patient and the physician to keep the office running smoothly.
They're crucial. You know, we could not get through a day without having the medical assistant here in the office. They are who are helping us, you know, room the patients, run our schedule, stay organized, stay on time.
IU Health employs about 1,000 MAs across the state, and in 2018, IU Health hired 360 more, and about 120 positions are still available.
It is hard to find medical assistants. I think sometimes people are unaware that we need them.
Mandy Bates with IU Health says she is always looking for compassionate people to fill these roles. With or without a degree, MAs do need to go through a program that can take anywhere from 9 to 24 months. Once that is complete, IU Health is ready to hire, even without certification.
Once we get them hired, if they are not certified, we're going to help them through a career ladder so that they have opportunity to learn and grow in their jobs. We pre-fund a certification exam, set them up with a coach, make them successful on taking their exam. We have the highest pass rate in the country on CMA exams, and then they can get promoted.
Bates says it's a job that you can stick with long-term or use as a gateway to other positions in the healthcare field. And it's a position that will always be in demand.
We think the medical assistant is sort of the glue to making the clinic run well.
That was Amanda Starantino reporting. Medical assistants at IU Health make anywhere from $14 to $20 an hour with benefits. Along with the career ladder to help MAs pass the certification test and advance to higher paying positions, IU Health also offers tuition assistance so MAs can go back to school for further training, including to become a registered nurse. You can find more information about this program on our website, hiringhoosiers.com. That's where you can also find all of our other hiring Hoosier stories. And be sure to join us tomorrow on Good Morning Indiana as we take a look at the jobs of the week. President Trump says there's no timeline on a trade deal with China, but said getting a deal is closer. He said it in an interview after the G20 in Japan, and he'll say it again tonight in an interview that airs on Fox News. Trump told Tucker Carlson it's the, quote, largest deal ever made of any kind, not only trade. This weekend, the U.S. and China agreed to stop adding new tariffs for now. China and the U.S. also made farm and agriculture deals. That's big because Chinese tariffs focused on U.S. agriculture goods. We were boiling in the heat here in central Indiana over the weekend, but it is nothing compared to the summer temperatures they're dealing with in Europe. In the last week alone, several different countries set new June records for the hottest temperature. In one part of France on Friday, the temperature hit 114 degrees. That topped a record from 2003. During that heat wave, more than 14,000 people died in France. Schools have been closed across Europe to keep kids safe. And Todd, it is going to be hot here again today. Thankfully, though, not that hot.
Yeah, we're not talking about 100-degree temperatures here. Even with the heat index figured in, we're only talking about mid to upper 90s. But yeah, that is some rare air and a big-time heat wave there in France and other parts of Europe. Here we're dealing with temperatures in the 90s once again later on this afternoon, most likely. The view this morning as you look past Bankers Life Fieldhouse through Fountain Square and beyond, we have partly cloudy skies. The temperature sits at 67 degrees, just a light wind. Notice the dew point at 64 right now. And so that's starting to get borderline uncomfortable. It's down a little bit from where it was yesterday, but as we go throughout the day, look what happens to your dew point. It gets back up into the low 70s, and that's a very uncomfortable number. So as the day goes on, the humidity kind of comes back up, and it gets more and more uncomfortable as we work our way into the afternoon and evening hours, and that's why we'll be able to figure in a heat index for you later on this afternoon. 67 currently in Bloomington, as well as Indy and Lafayette, 69 from Tipton to Peru. Richmond currently sitting at 68 degrees. So throughout the day today, we'll warm very quickly now that the sun is coming up. In fact, by 10 a.m., we should be at 80 degrees already, mid to upper 80s by the noon hour. And then high temperatures in the low 90s this afternoon with partly cloudy skies and the chance of some spotty storms building in once again during the afternoon and evening hours. So if you remember back to the weekend, Saturday, we just had these spotty storms that would pop up. I didn't get any rain at my house, but off in the distance, you could see the lightning. Yesterday was more of a wave of storms that came through. Well, today's storms are just going to be that pop-up variety across parts of central Indiana. All these heavy storms with a lot of rainfall is going to stay to our north. And these storms in Illinois right now, they're sagging down to the south. So yeah, there's a stray storm chance off and on throughout the afternoon hours during the peak heating of the day. But don't cancel your plans because of the storm threat. Even if you did see one of these downpours, it's just very, very brief. The bigger story today is going to be the heat and the humidity. So make sure you stay cool if possible. If you don't have any air condition, head to the mall, head to the public library or some indoor place that has air condition where you can find some relief. And here are those storm chances. Again, the coverage isn't all that great throughout the afternoon and even into tomorrow. Tomorrow's a day very similar to today in the sense that the storm chances are just going to be very spotty across the area. But those rain chances do unfortunately go up as we get closer to the 4th of July. And there's not the question that some storms could impact 4th of July festivities here across the area. So tomorrow, mostly sunny to start, warm and humid, some spotty storms in the afternoon hours. Heat index values as we work our way throughout the week actually go up as we work our way into the 4th of July and the day after. Even though the actual temperatures come down a little bit, the humidity gets even higher as the week goes on. So it's a very steamy forecast for us going forward with those peak heat index values maybe by Friday in that extreme caution range up near 100 degrees. And with the heat and humidity, as you would expect, rain chances come up as well. The 4th of July, about a 60% chance of storms, 70% on Friday, and then even into the weekend, storm chances remain in this forecast. So you'll have to stay tuned. Too early to tell on the timing of the storms, but there'll certainly be a possibility Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and even into Sunday with temperatures that'll cool from the 90s eventually into the upper 80s. Lena?
Thank you, Todd. Here's a look at I-70 at State Road 267. So this is down on that southwest side, kind of in that Plainfield area. You can see traffic is moving along just fine right now, but there are some construction signs up. There will be construction underway throughout the week, so just pay attention to that. Right now, though, you can see everything's moving along just fine. Let's take a look at the map coming in from this southwest side on I-70 from Ronald Reagan Parkway up to I-65 downtown. Runs you about 12 minutes, so traffic is flowing along just fine for your morning drive. That's the case no matter where you're headed right now. So you can see this green all over the map, so if you're headed out the door, should be smooth sailing.
Elena, thank you. A warning before you head to the pool this summer. There might be something in the water that could cause you some big problems. It's a parasite called crypto. It's spread by feces, and the CDC says they're seeing more and more people come down with it. In fact, there's been a nearly 13% increase each year between 2009 and 2017. Most people who get crypto get it from the pool, but you can also get it from lakes and cattle. Health officials say it causes watery diarrhea for as long as 3 weeks. So what can you do? If you go to the pool, shower immediately after. And if you know anyone who has had diarrhea recently, don't let them get into the pool. Well, it has been a wild 24 hours in the NBA world. Just ahead, we'll show you the big moves and what the Pacers did to help their team. That's coming up. The craziness of the NBA free agency period is in full swing this morning. And if you were busy yesterday, we have a bunch of huge moves to catch you up on. The biggest news is Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving heading to Brooklyn to play for the Nets. They are expected to be joined by DeAndre Jordan. Golden State Warriors reportedly are trading away Andre Iguodala and bringing in D'Angelo Russell. The Indiana Pacers have been busy as well. They've added Malcolm Brogdon and Jeremy Lamb to the team. But unfortunately, because of NBA rules, teams can't officially announce any of these moves until July 6th. The men's national soccer team is moving on to the semifinals in the Gold Cup tournament. They were able to squeeze out a victory last night. It was Team USA versus the country of Curacao in Philadelphia. The game was far closer than most people expected, with Team USA missing out on several chances throughout the game. They were able to get on the board when Weston McKennie scored in the 25th minute. That was the only goal of the match, with the Americans holding on for a 1-0 victory. Now they turn their attention to a big matchup with Jamaica. That semifinal game is set for Wednesday night in Nashville. It's the song that has seemingly taken over the world. Well, apparently Old Town Road has also taken over the animal kingdom as well. Just take a look at the reaction from one dog when he hears the song. Well, it looks like Billy Ray and Lil Nas X need to add someone to their duo and make it a trio.
I was just thinking, like, if that couple has kids or the owner of the dog has kids, you want to wake them up.
Well,
put a little Old Town Road on in the kitchen, and the dog will do the rest for you.
Well, and I wanted to apologize to any viewers whose dogs are now howling at their TV because of that dog. Yeah, it might be a little loud out there right now. All right. Well, if you are taking your dog out this morning, it's going to be a hot one. Probably better to get him out for a walk this morning versus later today.
Yeah, do it early, and then if you have to take your dog out, obviously, to use the restroom or whatever, just go in, go out, and get back in and give them plenty of water because it is going to be a warm one out there. Temperatures warm really, really quickly here this morning. In fact, we should be into the mid-80s already by 10 a.m., 88 degrees by the noon hour, then high temperatures once again this afternoon, topping off in the low 90s. Factor in the humidity, we're talking about mid-90s real field temperatures with just the chance of an isolated thunderstorm. And the time now is 6:27. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
00. We look forward to serving you at Barrington Jewels.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 6:30, the 1st of July means that new laws are now on the books in Indiana. Coming up, the impact the laws will not only have on you, but your family. And the last Hoosier State Line train left the station over the weekend. Coming up, other ways out there to connect you to the Windy City. It is 6:30 and Todd is moving slow this morning. Come on, get on over here.
I was trying to get the Greencastle camera from our producer, Carl, because he told me it was the best one.
All right,
but I ran out of time, Carl. We're not going to get you the Greencastle camera.
All right, maybe later this morning.
Yeah, we'll get up there here eventually. But it's warm. It's muggy once again. You need to drink plenty of water today and have the sunscreen handy, as well as the sunglasses. So grab before you go here the sunglasses. You don't need the rain gear this morning. There is the chance of a downpour later on this afternoon, so your umbrella's in the car. It's probably not a bad thing, but most of you probably don't need to use that umbrella later on today. As far as our temperature goes, we're at 66 right now in Crawfordsville, 67 in Indianapolis, 68 is the current temperature as you make your way into the Richmond area. Here's the view in downtown Indianapolis, where skies are partly sunny as you look past IMS here across the area. But the rain's off to our west and to our north right now. That is the good news. And these showers are just sinking south through Illinois, so they're not going to be making their way into our area. And the storms to the north, that's where they stay as well. So it's a hot day. It's a muggy day. The humidity kind of comes up as we work our way throughout the day today. So be aware of that. 88 degrees already by the noon hour, and then high temperatures will be in the low 90s with just those spotty storms starting to build in across the area later on today. We'll continue this heat wave into the 90s tomorrow, and then a little cooler for the latter half of the week and the 4th of July. But with that comes a better chance of storms. We'll talk about that as well. But at 6:31, let's get another update on the roads with Elena. Good morning.
Good morning, Todd. Not too much happening on the roadways right now, which is good news. So if you're coming in from the southeast side, heading northbound on I-74 from Acton Road up to I-465, it'll take you about 5 minutes. So your travel time is moving along just fine for your drive. Let's take a look at this stretch right now on our live NDOT traffic camera. I-74 at Acton Road. The roads are dry. Traffic's flowing along just fine. If you're heading out the door, should be an easy one.
Elena, thank you. Today is July 1st, and as usual, that's the day most of the laws passed by the General Assembly this year take effect. Our Aaron Lish is live outside the State House with some of those laws that will impact you. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning. So there were quite a few laws that were signed by Governor Holcomb, and there are some that could impact teens and your Hoosier students. So the first one that we're looking at is now 16 and 17-year-old pregnant teens will be able to get their routine treatment even though their parents aren't around. Next, remember how these 3 kids lost their lives after being hit by a car in northern Indiana while at a bus stop? Well, there is a new law that will increase the penalty for passing a school bus with its stop arm out. And finally, it's time to study more about your U.S. history. High schoolers must take the naturalization test, and this is taken by people who want to be U.S. citizens, and it really doesn't affect their graduation requirements. And I'll tell you, Meredith, there are about 100 questions, and I think that I'd have to do a little bit more research on them because there are some tough ones out there. We will have all of this information with all of these new laws passed on the RTV6 app and on the IndyChannel.com under this story. Meredith?
Aaron, thank you. A new bus service is available starting today if you're traveling from Indianapolis to Chicago. It's a direct response to the end of the Hoosier State Amtrak passenger train route that ran 4 days a week. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning. And Alyssa, this new company is starting cheaper than its competitors.
That's right, Meredith. For the first 2 weeks of its service, which starts today, rides will only be $10 each way, and that's starting today at 7:30. That's when the first ride will go, and this is a way for the company to really gauge if there's a need and an interest in another bus service option between these 2 major cities. Now, this is, as you said, a direct response to the Hoosier State passenger train ending, which ended yesterday due to lack of funding. Amtrak does run another route between Indianapolis and Chicago, their Cardinal route. It's part of their Chicago to New York City route, and that runs 3 days a week. The bus company Arbus is hoping to help bridge the gap in transportation. There are some other busing options to and from Chicago through Greyhound and Megabus, but there are some features that make this company just a little different.
Our service is more app-based, and the other thing that's different is that these are high-quality tour buses that are typically used for events. So the quality of the vehicle is nicer.
Now, the bus route and stops are also based on customer feedback. Right now, there will be a stop in Zionsville, but if there are enough requests for other cities, the company will add those stops as well. And the first ride starts today at 7:30 this morning. That one goes to Chicago, and then there's a return trip from Chicago that leaves at 5 p.m. and gets back here to Indianapolis at 10 p.m. Those are the only 2 times that are offered right now, but the company says if there's a demand and requests from their riders, they will add more times. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. This morning, we're working to learn the name of a burglary suspect who drowned in a West Side retention pond after running from officers. Police responded to a burglary at the clubhouse of the Waterfront Terrace Apartments Saturday morning. That's near 34th and Muller Road. Authorities say at least 2 suspects ran from police. One of the suspects went into a retention pond and drowned. Fire department crews later recovered the body. 2 juvenile suspects were arrested on suspicion of burglary. A man is recovering after being shot in Marion. Police say it all happened because he refused to give the suspect a cigarette, that is. Marion police arrested 21-year-old Delance Arlonzo Scaife. They say he shot a man after he refused to give him a cigarette. It all happened near 14th Street and South Adams Street around 11:30 Friday night. Police say the victim was taken to the hospital in stable condition. The Better Business Bureau of Central Indiana is warning you about a growing scam that can trick even the savviest of people. Jenny Alley of Cloverdale has a timeshare in Branson, Missouri. But it's too expensive, so she wants to get rid of it. She got a call from a company offering to buy it. Jenny researched the company's name, and it was legitimate, or so she thought. It turns out the scammers were posing as real timeshare resellers. Now Jenny is out thousands of dollars in fees she sent to the fake company. The Better Business Bureau says this scam is huge right now as many Hoosiers look to unload timeshares.
How much money? In all, I'm out $4,100.
And what kind of money is that to you?
I mean, that's a month's pay for me. So that means bills could potentially not get paid if, I never see that money again.
The Better Business Bureau investigated a timeshare company called D&W International Closings. Its address is in downtown Indianapolis, but Call 6 Investigates found the business doesn't even exist. Bottom line, there are legitimate businesses that will buy timeshares, but many are a scam. So make sure you know who you're dealing with and never wire money. Free agency is underway in the NBA, and the Pacers are making a couple of big moves. Reports indicate the Pacers will get guard Malcolm Brogdon from the Milwaukee Bucks in a sign-and-trade deal. The Pacers will give up draft picks, but they would be getting one of the most accurate shooters in basketball. Indiana is also expected to sign free agent guard Jeremy Lamb away from the Charlotte Hornets. Both Lamb and Brogdon averaged more than 15 points a game last season. They'll help fill the hole left until Victor Oladipo returns from his quad injury. The Pacers did lose one key player to free agency. Bojan Bogdanovic is expected to sign with the Utah Jazz. It is 6:38 right now. Todd's got a gorgeous sunrise from Greencastle behind him.
We promised you it was coming, so here it was. I just had to have enough time
now you're delivering.
Punch it up in the router, and it is a pretty sunrise here taking place. You have some clouds. You have a lot of clear skies as well, and this is the picture of summer here as we will be dealing with temperatures today warming well up into the 80s and even the low 90s for many of you here across central Indiana. So obviously you have to take caution outside, drink plenty of water, and you do with your pets as well. Our featured dog of the day is Weasley here. I don't know if Weasley gets in trouble here, Kevin, on top of the table, but what a cute dog he is. Weasley lives there in Covington, Indiana. So throughout the day today, we'll give you some green paws here this morning. Partly cloudy. It's warm, but then the red paws this afternoon as those temperatures build up into the 90s. And of course, if you'd like to have your dog featured here on a dog walking forecast, you can send those pictures to me on my Facebook page, Todd Clausen, RTV6. Meredith.
Todd, thank you. Another day of massive protests in Hong Kong. We'll show you why young people continue to turn out by the thousands on that country's streets. And the weather is heating up, and that means we need to watch out for our pets, how to keep your pets cool, and what the law says you're required to do as a pet owner. It's 6:39. We'll be right back.
Flex, now in triple strength plus magnesium.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now 6:41. Here's a look at I-865 at Cooper Road. Traffic's flowing just fine. Stay tuned. I'll have your latest traffic update coming up in the next few minutes.
Elena, thank you. New this morning, more massive protests happening in Hong Kong. This is a live look there right now. Today, protesters are attempting to break into Hong Kong's legislative building as the country was officially trying to celebrate 22 years under Chinese rule. Hundreds of thousands of mostly young people have been demonstrating for days. They are calling for Hong Kong's government to drop a law that would allow extradition of criminal suspects to China. Opponents say the bill could be used to silence critics of China's communist government. The Florida man accused of dragging a deputy during a traffic stop is expected to appear in court this morning. During the stop, the deputy asked 38-year-old Rocky Rudolph if there's marijuana in the car and asked Rudolph to turn off the vehicle. Police say he refuses and starts to drive off with the officer holding on to the car. The officer pulls a gun and orders him to stop, but he appears to grab for the gun. Police say the officer was treated and released from the hospital. Rudolph faces several charges, including attempted murder of a law enforcement officer. The death of a Clemson University student remains under investigation this morning. It happened early yesterday morning just off campus. Police say 20-year-old Thomas Few fell off a rooftop patio. Authorities say they do not suspect foul play, but believe alcohol could have been a contributing factor. Students on campus say it puts life into perspective.
I mean, it could be you, it could be one of your friends. I mean, anytime anything like that happens.
The fraternity Thomas Few belonged to is working with police during the investigation. A warning this morning for pet owners as temperatures begin hovering around that 90-degree mark. Indianapolis Animal Care and Services is seeing an increase in calls regarding animals being left outside. Now, keep in mind, there is a Marion County ordinance requiring all pets to be brought inside or in a temperature-controlled facility when temperatures reach 90 degrees or higher. Pet owners are also encouraged to watch for the following signs of a heat stroke, which can include panting, staring, warm, dry skin, and a rapid heartbeat. It is 6:44 right now, and it is already warm out there this morning. You can feel that humidity as you step out the door, Todd, and we're only going to feel it more and more throughout the day.
Yeah, yesterday 94 degrees was the high temperature. Heat index values even warmer than that. Today, we probably don't get quite to 94, but we're still back up into the low 90s, and heat index values again will be climbing up into the mid 90s. So it's going to be a very warm and muggy day for us here across the area. Here's that sunrise again in Greencastle. Beautiful shot here of the darker clouds and plenty of sunshine there off in the distance. And these temperatures this morning that are in the 60s and 70s across the area. 67 in Bloomington as well as Indianapolis. 70 is the current temperature over in the Kokomo area. And you'll notice the warmth off to our west. Near 80 degrees right now in St. Louis still. And that's what's going to be moving in our direction. So as we go into the day tomorrow, we're still probably in the 90s. And then eventually as we get into the latter half of the week, we fall back down into the upper 80s, but the humidity comes up even higher, so it probably even gets more uncomfortable as the week goes on, even though our actual temperatures will go down a few degrees. But here are those highs for the day today, up into the low 90s. Let me go over to real field temperatures for you here later on this afternoon. It's going to feel like it's in the mid 80s already by the time we get into the noon hour, and then heat index values as warm as about 96 today in Greencastle, 93 in Fishers, feel like 96 in the Columbus and Bedford area. So we're talking about heat index on average between about 95 and 100 degrees later on this afternoon. So try to limit your time outdoors if possible throughout the afternoon hours. And if you do have to be outdoors, plenty of water, plenty of sunscreen, and take those breaks if possible. Maybe go in your vehicle if you work outside and get a little bit of air condition at times. So skies are partly cloudy this morning. All the rain stays off to our west and to our north for the most part, at least the big clusters of rain. We will manufacture probably a few isolated downpours, as TrueCast shows you here, throughout the afternoon hours, but they should be very, very spotty. Most of you probably don't even see the rainfall, but if you do, it's a quick, heavy downpour and a little bit of lightning, and that is just about it. And then as we continue into the day tomorrow, more of the same, heat and humidity, the chance of a few isolated storms in the forecast, and that is just about it. Now, tomorrow is a day very similar with the storm chances and temperature-wise. We're back up into the low 90s. Going forward in the forecast, though, heat index values will come up across the area and be pushing into the near 100-degree mark by Friday. So let me show you your 7-day planning forecast, because temperatures fall back down into the upper 80s as we get into the 4th of July and beyond. But again, as I mentioned, humidity is even higher towards the end of the week than it is here at the beginning of the week, and that's going to make heat index values higher, but it's also going to lead to better storm chances as we get into the 4th of July and beyond. Don't cancel any 4th of July plans yet. Yes, there are storms in the forecast, but they're going to be scattered in nature, and we'll fine-tune the timing of those for you as we go throughout the day, but most of them will be during the peak heating of the day. Elena.
All right, let's hope they hold off for the fireworks. Thank you, Todd. As you're coming in from the east side, heading westbound on I-70 from Post Road to I-65 downtown, it should run you about 10 minutes, so traffic's flowing along just fine. Let's take a look up on our northeast side, though. This is one of those areas that gets pretty heavy, and when we get into the morning rush hour, I-465 at I-69, you can see right here everything's moving along without delay.
Elena, thank you. The latest fatal shooting happening in Indianapolis coming on the city's east side. Next on Good Morning Indiana, what police know so far about the victim and what might have happened. And the countdown is on to Team USA's big semifinal match at the World Cup, taking on England later this morning. Two of the team stars, Megan Rapinoe and Kelly O'Hara, only on Good Morning America. It's 6:48. We'll be right back.
And be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. It is 6:50. I'm Meredith Barrick. We are working for you, helping you get your week started. We have all your top stories covered, and Elena Martella is keeping a close eye on traffic. We do want to start things off with meteorologist Todd Clausen and your Monday morning forecast.
And it's a nice Monday for us here across the area. Temperatures are in the 60s and 70s, so not too hot for you here this morning and not too humid, but that's all going to change as the day goes on. And you notice plenty of sunshine as you look from downtown to the north. So as we work our way throughout the morning hours, we warm very, very quickly. We should be near 80 degrees already by 10 a.m. We'll continue to warm from that point forward up into the low 90s for most of us here today. Heat index values in the mid 90s. As far as the storm chances go, it's just a spot storm flaring up here during the peak heating of the days. The bigger weather story, again, will be the heat and humidity here later on this afternoon.
Good morning. Multiple laws are going into effect today, and here are some of the more notable ones signed by Governor Eric Holcomb. So Indiana was one of the states that did not have a hate crime law, but starting today, a judge can consider bias due to a crime victim's real or perceived traits. And penalties for going past a school bus with its stop sign out will end up increasing, and students must take the naturalization test. It's taken by anyone who's wanting to become a U.S. citizen. Now, this test will not affect their graduation requirements, and we will have all these laws in detail and more going through those effect today through the RTV6 app and on the IndyChannel.com.
A new bus company is offering service between Indianapolis and Chicago starting today. Now, this is in response to the end of Amtrak's Hoosier State Line that used to run 4 days a week between Indianapolis and Chicago. That ended just yesterday. Now, this company, R-Bus, plans to bridge the gap that was left by Amtrak. R-Bus will start leaving from Indianapolis every day at 7:30 a.m. There will be a return service at 5 p.m. that gets you back to Indianapolis by 10 at night. And for 2 weeks to start out, the company is only offering $10 rides.
Alyssa, thank you. This morning, Metro Police are investigating a deadly shooting on the city's east side. It happened on North Dearborn Street near 10th and Rural Streets around 7:15 last night. Police found a 43-year-old man in the front yard who was suffering from at least one gunshot wound. Investigators believe the victim lived at the home where the shooting happened. Police say it does not appear that this was a random act of violence. A man is recovering after being shot in Marion. Police say it all happened because he refused to give the suspect a cigarette. Marion police arrested 21-year-old Delance Arlonzo Scaife. They say he shot a man after he refused to give him a cigarette. It happened near 14th Street and South Adams Street late Friday night. Police say the victim was taken to the hospital and is expected to recover. We are working for you to learn the name of a burglary suspect drowned in a West Side retention pond after running from officers. Police responded to a burglary at the clubhouse of the Waterfront Terrace Apartments Saturday morning. That's near 34th and Muller Road. Authorities say at least 2 suspects ran from police. One of the suspects went into a retention pond and drowned. 2 other suspects were arrested. This morning, investigators are asking for your help finding a missing 13-year-old girl. Valentina LaCava was last seen 10 days ago at her home in Greenwood. Her friends and family are pleading with the public to help her come home. She's 5'1" and weighs 110 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information about where she is, contact the Johnson County Sheriff's Office. The Marion County Sheriff's Office needs your help finding a retired canine officer. The 12-year-old dog has been missing for more than 3 days. Police say she became frightened by fireworks and escaped from her enclosure. The canine was last seen in the Canby area. If you have any information, you can call the Sheriff's Office at the number on your screen, 317-327-3811. Free agency is underway in the NBA, and the Pacers are making a couple of big moves. Reports indicate the Pacers will get guard Malcolm Brogdon from the Milwaukee Bucks in a sign-and-trade deal. The Pacers will give up draft picks, but they would be getting one of the most accurate shooters in basketball. Indiana is also expected to sign free agent guard Jeremy Lamb away from the Charlotte Hornets. The ticket explosion is about to begin. You can get tickets for $25 or less to more than 30 different shows in the area during Live Nation's 4th of July Ticket Explosion event. Ticket sales start at 10 a.m. this morning. You have until July 8th to cash in on the deals for shows at Ruoff Home Mortgage Music Center, the Farm Bureau Insurance Lawn at White River State Park, and Old National Center. Swimming can be fun on these hot summer days, but it also can be hazardous if you don't play it safe. That's why Indy Parks is hosting free water safety classes this summer. The classes will take place from 12 to 3 p.m. every Sunday at the Riverside Pool. For more information on how you can join in on this safe summer splash, call 317-327-7275. Elena.
And as you're hitting the roads this morning, not too much happening right now. Coming in from this east side, heading westbound on I-70 from Post Road over to I-65 should run you about 10 minutes, so everything's moving along just fine. Let's take a look at the roads right now. Up on our northeast side, here's 465 at I-69. Traffic's flowing just fine. No matter where you're headed, should be an easy commute.
It's a warm, sunny day for us here across the area. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s right now. We'll be in the mid to upper 80s by the noon hour, and then low 90s later on this afternoon. The humidity is high as well, so that'll make heat index values in the mid 90s, and just the chance of a stray downpour or two this afternoon. More of the same for tomorrow. Then storm chances increase as we work our way into the holiday forecast and beyond. Don't cancel plans yet for the 4th of July. Most of those storms will be during the peak heating of the day, and then as the sun sets, a lot of them will start to fade away. The one thing I will mention, though, is even though the temperatures get a little bit cooler as we head into the 4th of July, and it's still warm, obviously, in the upper 80s, the humidity comes up, so it's going to get very steamy as we get into the holiday weekend itself. So all those who wanted summer, it's here.
Yes, it is. And I would not consider those temps cool, Todd. No. We are back in 25 minutes and throughout Good Morning America. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope you have a great Monday. We'll see you back here in a bit.